Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, while Bitcoin's still struggling underneath this massive area of resistance, we're continuing to see the price bounce from this crucial level of support in the short term. But while this is happening right now in the short term, we're seeing more and more liquidity building just below the price of Bitcoin in this Bitcoin liquidation heat map, which we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that in just a moment, alongside Solana, which is potentially now coming in for another retest of this massive area of resistance here, while XRP is continuing to struggle and reject from this previous significant area of resistance. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a larger correction or a larger bearish market. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have a massive bearish divergence to watch out for, which over the last 1 day has not gone away. So not much has changed over the last 1 day on the weekly Bitcoin price chart. And if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, we still have this smaller or shorter term bullish divergence, which is also technically still active and not yet been invalidated. And so in other words, we'll likely see either a little bit more choppy sideways price action or potentially a little bit more of a slight bullish relief if we're talking about the next few days or possibly weeks, that sort of time frame. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, at least for now, the price of Bitcoin is still trading in this sideways price range between this support and this resistance. First of all, we still have a lot of support at around 85 to 86,000 and a lot of resistance in between around 92 to 94,000, but especially the higher end of that area around 93, 94k, especially that 94k level, we have strong resistance right there. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, we can see that obviously over the last couple of days, we've been playing out a lot of choppy sideways price action as predicted. Obviously, in my last 1 to 2 videos, I said, get ready, we're most likely going to see choppy sideways price action. So very neutral price action just in the shorter term, most likely for the entire weekend. And obviously so far this weekend, that's exactly what we've been seeing over the last couple of days, mostly choppy sideways price action with just these slight little bounces here from this level of support, but not really seeing a lot of follow through with bullish momentum. And so at least for now, it's still very much clear that we're lacking bullish momentum, and we're still kind of playing out that previous rejection from this massive resistance here. But because we're running into this massive support at give or take $90,000, at least for now, that's preventing further bearish price action from continuing. So for now, most likely over the next 12 to 24 hours, until we start to see the US stock market, for example, start to open back up again, at least for the immediate short term here, maybe over the next 1 day, we could play out a little bit more choppy sideways price action, just holding above this crucial level of support here at give or take $90,000. But honestly, quite soon, as in maybe in a day from now, for example, not necessarily right this instant, but within the next few days, I'll not be surprised, and I talked about this in my last video, I'll not be surprised if sometime soon we actually see potentially another little dip towards the downside due to the fact of what's actually forming here in the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, which is indeed more liquidity building to the downside. And so first of all, discussing the upside liquidity, we have a small amount at around 94.8k and a small amount at around just above 92,000, but really most of the liquidity, at least in the short term, is below the price, starting at around just above 89,000, in between 89,000 to 89.1k is a key level to watch out for. Below that, we have a small amount at around 88.2k to 88.3k, and below that, we also have a lot of liquidity in between 86,500 to 87,000. And so once again, the first price target to watch out for based on the Bitcoin liquidation heat map is at just above 89,000, around 89.1k potentially, as a likely level that could be hit at some point in the next few days. Once again, not necessarily right this moment, most likely over the coming hours, maybe the next 1 day, we could play out a little bit more choppy sideways price action, but don't be surprised if at some point within the next few days, we see a little dip like that to take out that liquidity at just above 89,000. But remember, at least for now, all of that is still occurring within this larger sideways price range here on the daily time frame. So obviously not a lot has changed over the last 1 day, but if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities in Bitcoin or any other crypto, you definitely have to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange. And if you use the first link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, that first link below this video will take you to this page right here over on the 2bit crypto exchange, which by the way is a no KYC crypto exchange. And just for the next less than 1 day now, for the next few hours, there's still this massive Christmas trading showdown happening over on 2bit, where there's a total prize pool of up to 1 million USDT. And so obviously, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well check this out. Take advantage of this. Basically a bunch of free money from the exchange using that first link below this video to 2bit. And remember, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But if you want another exchange out there that I also use myself to also claim some extra bonuses on, then in that situation, check out the second link below this video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can also take advantage of major bonuses. For example, if you simply make your account using that link, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. And on top of that, there's deposit bonuses here. If you deposit as little as 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well check this out. You might as well take advantage of this using that second link below the video to Pinex. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, and right now, honestly, the Bitcoin dominance for the most part is kind of just ranging sideways. We are clearly lacking momentum to either direction, looking pretty neutral here for the Bitcoin dominance. And so that basically tells us that a lot of the major altcoins out there on average will likely perform very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing, not necessarily much better or much worse. So obviously not a lot has changed over the last 1 day for the Bitcoin dominance. So without wasting your time, getting straight into Ethereum, looking at the daily Ethereum price chart. And right now, as of recording this video and over the last couple of days, we've been retesting this Fibonacci level of support sitting at around $3,040 to $3,050, but really in between 3,000 to 3.1k. That's been an area of support that I've been focusing on over the last few days or so, especially. But what we are seeing right now in the immediate short term is a slight little bounce from this level of support, proving that at least for now, this is still acting as support. So that's still a level to pay attention to on the price chart for Ethereum. And if we were to see a confirmed break with, let's just say, a daily candle close below 3,000, and especially if we fail to get back above that level, in that situation, we could likely see a drop down towards around 2.8k. But remember, we're still finding a lot of support at around that 3,050 level, right in between 3,000 to 3.1k. And as for resistance, in case we see a further bounce in the short term again, in that situation, expect a decent amount of resistance at give or take 3.3k. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 3-hour Ethereum price chart, obviously over the last half a week, almost coming up to 1 week, we've been playing out this shorter term bearish divergence very nicely here in the form of this short term pullback, and then more recently some sideways price action, which is the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. But we're now starting to see some invalidation signals finally to start to invalidate this previous bearish divergence, and those invalidation signals are simply a reversal starting to play out now in the RSI, obviously starting to form higher lows and higher highs, alongside what you could argue as a slight little bullish divergence here as well on the 3-hour Ethereum price chart. And so as long as Bitcoin is still holding this level at around 90,000, still holding this as support in the short term, it's quite likely that Ethereum just in the immediate short term could maybe play out maybe just a slight little bullish relief. I don't expect a lot of bullish momentum, but maybe a slight little bullish relief, if not just some more choppy sideways price action, as really what I expect moving forward as a very likely scenario, at least in the short term, talking about the next couple of days. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, it's a somewhat similar situation for Solana, because obviously over the last few days, for almost a week, we've just been bouncing around somewhat sideways, and this will likely continue moving forward, considering right now the price of Solana is basically in a sideways price range, bouncing between support and resistance. First of all, we have a decent amount of support at just above $130, so around 132 to 133 as a decent support level, and below that we also have more support at around $125. And so once again, the price is bouncing between that support at around 132 to 133, and of course this area of resistance sitting in between between 143 to 147. So continue to expect a lot of resistance in that area, as I've been saying many times since before all of these rejections right here from this exact area on the price chart. And over the last one day, we've actually come very close again to retesting this area of resistance. We've not technically hit that level again over the last one day, but we got very close. So potentially quite soon we could see another little retest of that level. But remember, we'll still expect a lot of resistance, a lot of struggle in that area in between 143 to 147. And potentially one of the main reasons as to why we've tried to push up for another retest and could potentially continue a little bit more of a retest of this resistance in the coming days is due to the fact that this bullish divergence on the daily Solana price chart is still currently active. We've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to actually start to invalidate this bullish divergence here, which can help the price either play out some more short-term bullish price action or maybe some choppy sideways price action. So overall, that's what I expect moving forward. But remember, if we do see a little bit more bullish price action, ultimately they'll just cause another test of this resistance where we could likely struggle at or possibly see another rejection from. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame right now and over the last one day, honestly, not a lot has changed for XRP on the weekly time frame because we still have this massive bearish divergence not yet being invalidated, and we also still have a lot of support at around $1.80. And if we're taking a look at the daily XRP price chart, obviously over the last half a week, almost coming up to 1 week now, we've been rejecting from this exact area of resistance I've been warning about in between $2.30 to $2.40 at this Fibonacci area right here. So continue to expect a lot of resistance in between $2.30 to $2.40. But as I've also been mentioning and explaining over the last couple of days in my last couple of videos, we are now starting to run into this Fibonacci level acting as support, sitting at around $2.05. So at give or take $2.05 in that low $2 area, we have a decent amount of support around there on the price chart for the price of XRP, which is helping to slow down that bearish price action, at least for now, considering we are running into support. And so in my last video here on the channel, I basically explained this as very similar as to what Ethereum is doing in the short term. Obviously, we played out that previous bearish divergence, we pulled back in the short term, but we had a lot of support right around here in between 3,000 to 3.1k, helping to prevent further bearish price action for Ethereum. So right now it's a very similar situation for XRP. Rejection obviously from resistance, playing out a pullback, but running into support, helping at least for now to prevent further bearish price action. And so honestly, over the next 1 or 2 days is a very likely scenario, just a short-term expectation here. We're likely going to continue a little bit more sideways price action, maybe a very, very slight little pullback into this area of support here at around $2 to $2.05. But then once again, still expect a lot of support, especially around that $2.05 level. So obviously, as we're running into that support, start to expect a little bit more sideways price action as the price is being supported by that level. And the reason why I'm saying sideways price action, not necessarily a massive bullish move, is because simply right now, just in the short term, we're lacking the bullish momentum. So that's the current situation for XRP. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a somewhat similar situation. If we're talking about the momentum, we're clearly lacking bullish momentum right now, but technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still currently active on the daily Chainlink price chart. And so this means over the next few days or over the next 1 or 2 weeks, we're likely going to continue to play out either a little bit more of a short-term bullish relief like this, or maybe just some choppy sideways price action as the most common outcomes, the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. So keep that in mind. That's still very likely, but not necessarily a massive amount of bullish momentum. And as for support and resistance, right now we're potentially testing a point of resistance on the price chart that we just broke below. We previously broke below over the last few days, and that's sitting in between around $13.30 to $13.50. So once again, that could now act as new resistance. And if we break out past that point in that situation, expect more resistance at just above $14, around $14.10, and above that, expect more resistance in between $14.70 to $15. And as for support, expect a decent amount of support in between $12.60 to $12.80, and a lot of support at give or take $12. And remember, if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities as soon as they come around, make sure to check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim the massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can take these sort of trades and trade these moves, no matter what direction these crypto prices go, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.